Senator Slotkin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to both of you. I want to pick up on something that Senator Hoeven was talking about, and that is acknowledging that there's real short-term pain that will be directed at our farmers due to the tariff policy. And I think what is happening now is we're saying the quiet part out loud. You're repeating what President Trump said and what Secretary Rollins alluded to, which is we will help pay for farmers to get them through this short-term pain. And just to review the bidding, as someone who lives on our family soybean farm, it's now grows soybean and corn. Under the first Trump administration, the president did what seemed, I think, like a normal activity. He put 15% tariffs on Chinese goods, a bunch of Chinese batteries, pork, a bunch of things. That we can control. It's the retaliation we can't control. China retaliated. They put huge retaliatory tariffs, particularly aimed at soybean farmers. We had $27 billion of agricultural losses, and our soybean farmers lost 15% market share. We never got it back. China buys their soybeans from Brazil and from Argentina. We never got it back. And how did the Trump administration cover down on those losses? Because the farmers, as you can imagine, were losing their minds. We paid them with taxpayer dollars paid for by this committee to the tune of $23 billion in what people would call government checks, welfare checks. And farmers hate taking welfare. They just want to compete. So I don't think there's a question on the desire, particularly against China, to go after them and their unfair trading practices. It's that we can't control where the trade war goes. So can you acknowledge that that is the accurate description of what happened on soybean farmers in the last administration from that trade war?
Senator, thank you for the question, and I appreciate the fact that you're a family farmer, and that's wonderful. Thank you for giving me a chance to comment on it. If you look at the trade data from our phase one trade negotiations with China in the first Trump administration, the agricultural exports, when tariffs were implemented by President Trump, did have a drop in the subsequent year after the tariffs were implemented. If you look at the trade data the year after the China phase one deal was signed between the U.S. and China, agricultural exports went up to 39% higher than pre-tariff levels. So before the tariff started, after the tariffs went into place, we saw a dip. We saw market facilitation payments happen. And then after the year after that occurred, a 39% increase on what was pre-tariff levels for agricultural exports to China. And
then why were we cutting checks to farmers from this committee? Literally, taxpayer dollars, so not something to sneeze at. Why were we having to subsidize our farmers who just wanted to compete in this field? Honestly, like the stats sound great, and I would be thrilled, right? No one. I'm a CIA officer. No one wants to push back on China more than me. But the truth is, we paid from this committee checks to farmers to get them through, and then completely lost that market share. So I think we need to acknowledge. I had a big farm kind of town hall in Frankenmuth, Michigan on Friday, and these are folks who are not Democrats, that's for sure, and they are stressed out about the potential retaliation. And you combine that with the immigration issues, right? They have legal vetted immigrants who are not showing up to work because they're scared. Our farmers have just a high level of uncertainty right now. And I just ask you to, again, we don't want to subsidize with basically welfare checks our farmers because of trade policy. And please, please stand in the breach on that. Other topic I want to add to the chorus on the unfair trade practices that lots of countries use with us. And I want to put on your radar that I want you to go into battle with the country of Turkey on tart cherries. We would love you to do blueberries, asparagus, potatoes, go to battle, go launch. And I want to know what you will specifically do, particularly for the specialty crop folks on this end of the dais, to make sure that even some of the smaller countries that we do trade with are going to get some hammers.
Yeah, I believe in an all-of-the-above trade approach. The America First trade agenda, I believe, calls for that. We need to do big deals, little deals, medium deals, and all kinds of deals to make sure that we get that market access. So not only will I, again, be working with my interagency colleagues to make sure that we're advocating for our farmers and ranchers in these trade discussions we're having today, But the Foreign Agricultural Service does an excellent job of maintaining a list of non-tariff barriers that our farmers are facing around the world. And I will absolutely address those every time I get the chance overseas to meet with my counterparts in other countries and break those down.
Great. Please go to Turkey. Thank you. I yield back.